Welcome back. Still to come, music from the wonderful Andrea Bocelli, and Tommy Steele talks about his return to the role of Scrooge. But first, all week we've been searching to find the people's novelist. Before the break, we met our three judges, Kathy Kelly, Penny Smith and Geoffrey Archer. So without further ado, let's meet our four finalists. First up, Jane Cable from West Stoke. Well done for making it this far. Jane's book, The Cheesemaker's House, was the winner of the Crime and Suspense Heat on Monday. Cheesemaker's House, what's it about, Jane?
It's about a divorcee who goes to live in Yorkshire and meets her neighbours from both the present and the past.
Sounds a bit scary. Would you like to read us a little bit?
Yes,
Off you go.
I must have dozed and I wake up to the sound of Owen's voice. He's in the scullery talking to a woman in a grey dress. I can see them through the open casement. Owen's face is tense and the woman bows her head and he turns away from her, his shoulders rigid with anger. It is at this point I realise there is no scullery and no casement window. I bury my head in my hands. I'm aware of William scampering towards the patio doors and starting to bark furiously, but I dare not open my eyes. What the hell have I just seen?
Oh, Kathy, what did you think of The Cheesemaker's House?
I thought it was an incredibly atmospheric novel, and I felt all along it was very reminiscent of a wonderful best-selling writer, also published by HarperCollins, actually called Barbara Erskine. So I thought it was very, very strong in that area.
Penny?
And when I was talking about readability, this had readability all over it. You just wanted to find out what was going on. And I think I said last time, and I'll reiterate, that the hunky builder Richard was hunky, and Owen, you just wonder what on earth Owen is. I think that there's something else going on.
Penny's putting in a bid for your leading men. So... Geoffrey, what did you make of The Cheesemaker's House?
I'm absolutely in agreement with that. I desperately want to find out about Owen. So much was given to us, but so little, that we're desperate to find out, does this man like women? Does this man like men? Is this a whole bluff? What is going to happen? Whereas the hunky Richard, who just tears his clothes off and tears her clothes off, we've got him worked out in a couple of minutes. But Owen is absolutely fascinating, and what the gift there is to make you want to find out. And clearly both of us, all three of us, wanted to find out.
I think you've just sold your book anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, Jane Cable. Well done, Jane. Finalist number 2 is Madeline Rice from Cambridge. Well, Madeline's novel Brancaster was the winner of the Women's Fiction Heat on Tuesday. So what's it about?
It's about a woman whose child goes missing. And although originally sceptical about going to see a medium, she's persuaded to go and see this person who seems to be giving her messages from her son. But it transpires that there are messages from another child altogether, a child who appears to be in danger.
So there's a bit of the supernatural in this as well, or...
Thrillerish love story.
Thrillerish love story.
Yes.
Would you like to read us a little bit?
Okay. She was familiar with the open land and dark earth of the surrounding countryside, where the beauties were subtle ones. They had explored it together as a family, Charlie head bobbing over Paul's shoulder, and later running on ahead through flat fields of corn or along chalky dikes. Now, when she saw Charlie's first wobbling cycle ride across the common, or caught a memory of his face, just on the edge of laughter at the top of a swing, she was comforted. She didn't want to go to a place that he hadn't marked, just as she couldn't throw away the tubs of Play-Doh, still pitted by his fingers.
Oh, it's very moving, isn't it? Penny, what do you think?
I thought you do descriptions beautifully. There was one, for example, where you talked about the sky stretching away into the sea. It felt as if you were walking in a thin membrane stretched to infinity. I thought your descriptions were so good that you immediately were there. The vision, it felt like you were walking in the sand or wherever you'd placed it. It was beautifully descriptive.
Geoffrey?
For me, it was the fear of losing one's child. When we were on that beach, and that moment where you said, the husband comes back, and you say to him, I thought the child was with you. And then he says, no, I thought the child was with you. And you suddenly got these two parents. And we all know, as parents, that you can lose a child in 30 seconds. They just disappear. They just go like lightning. And this was several minutes that was an absolute moment when I felt fear and worry and realised you'd captured me completely.
What did you tell us? We've got 4 extraordinarily good writers here.
Yeah.
Kathy?
I know, 4 amazing writers. I agree. I thought, Madeleine, you, as a parent of 2 8-year-olds, I literally, I could feel the chills. And I think that it was almost frightening because I could see it through your eyes. It was almost painful. And you want it to be better, but you know it's not going to be.
Compelling. Ladies and gentlemen, Madeleine Rice. Our third author, our third finalist, Margaret Ski from Kelso in Scotland. Margaret's book, The Turn of the Tide, was the winner of the historical fiction heat on Wednesday. So historical, tell us a bit about it.
Well, it's set in late 16th century Scotland, and it centres on a feud that's been running for about 120 years between 2 warring families.
And the historical aspect obviously appealed to you. Do you like disappearing into another time?
I do, actually. I like actually living in the other time when I'm writing, and sometimes I feel as if I'm actually either in the middle of the scene or as a participant or as an observer.
Do read us a little bit, if you would.
This extract introduces both the hero and the villain, and hopefully you'll know the difference. William Cunningham turned, dark eyes sparking. He made no offer of his hand to Monroe, nor any concession to ordinary courtesy. What kept you? The job is done. There was only one suitable answer. She will provide the signal, as she should, and willingly, I hope. Silence. She can be trusted? Oh, yes. Monroe thought of the look with which Lady Margaret had dismissed him. Your father is a dangerous man to cross. She understands that.
Whoa. Geoffrey?
I thought the 2 outstanding things about this particular piece were how well it's written. It's written by someone who's clearly written before and done well before this. I can't believe this is her first final. And secondly, the research. When you're doing a historic novel, you've got to believe you're there at the time. There's no point in you making mistakes because they hit you between the eyes straight away. So I thought the quality of the writing and the research were outstanding.
Wonderful. Kathy?
I agree completely. As I said before, you have a very strong authorial voice, and you're so assured in the period. I think that's what they say about historical novels. You're not to let the research show, and you don't. It's just very seamless and well done.
Penny?
And I really liked the dialogue. I know you read a bit of dialogue there, but the dialogue swims along really easily. You read it, and even though you can actually hear it, and you can hear the Scottish accent there as well. It was very clear, and you could almost see how soggy and mizzly it was as they write out.
You write weather very well, clearly, Margaret. Ladies and gentlemen, Margaret Ski. Well done, Margaret. Our final author is our chap, Phil Kurthausen from Chester. Now, Phil's book, Everlong, was the winner of yesterday's heat, where we looked at the thriller. So what's your particular thriller about?
It's about Erasmus Jones, who's an ex-military lawyer, and he's involved in the hunt for a missing man. And this all relates back to a grisly murder 20 years ago on a boat at the Everlong.
I love the name Erasmus Jones. It's got a great ring to it. Would you like to read us a bit from it?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great.
Frank recognised the man instantly. He felt his sympathetic nervous system go to full thrust, chemicals flooding his muscles and brain, preparing him for action. It was the same feeling that Frank, a poor flyer, felt seconds before takeoff, when the plane stood on the edge of the runway and opened its throttles. No turning back. Frank's world shrank to one choice. He could run or die. He ran.
Well, good job he did it in a short story if he hadn't, I suppose, wouldn't you, really? Kathy, back to you.
I thought this was wonderfully written. I think you write it very tightly, if you know what I mean. It's just so neat, and everything is precise. And I think Erasmus Jones is like a sort of a Lee Child, a Reacher character. I could really see you going that way. I thought it was wonderful.
Penny?
Yeah, I've got really low blood pressure, and this actually made it go really quite high. Because seriously, all the way through that chase, I was reading. I almost read ahead of myself. I was just thinking, and to set it as you have in the Beatles museum in Liverpool was just cracking. You know, the fact that Stuart Sutcliffe's head blows off, you know, like fly that. And then you see Ringo Starr is, you know, suddenly looking at him, and it was really good. It was macabre and brilliant.
Geoffrey.
What is interesting about what Philip read is that he ended on the words, he ran. The next 3 pages are totally unputdownable. You run with him, you're frightened for him, you're frightened with him, and you fear what's going to happen to him. And that's not easy to write. And Philip keeps it up, page after page after page. That is a great gift, and I thought this was quite outstanding.
Philip, if you go no further, you've had quite good praise there from a man who knows what he's talking about. I think, in fact, you all 4 have. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Kurthausen. So that's the 4 author authors. Judges, you have read all the submissions quite thoroughly and heard the finalists read from their novels. You have 20 seconds or so to finish your deliberations. You now need to decide who will be crowned the People's Novelist and see their book in print. Will it be Jane Cable from West Stoke with her novel The Cheesemaker's House? Has Madeline Rice from Cambridge triumphed with her book, Brancaster? Will Margaret Skee from Kelso in Scotland come up trumps with her novel, The Turn of the Tide? Or will Phil Kurthausen from Chester be victorious with his book, Everlong? Judges, your time is up. Penny, if you'd like to hand me that envelope.
There was a row.
There was a row.
There was a row. 2 of us.
Yes.
2-1.
Yes.
2-1.
But we agreed in 2-1. It was very, very close.
Wow.
You're all publishable. Just remember that, OK? Just...
OK. Shall we just leave it there? Because I can't think I can bear to open this envelope. Right. Jane, Madeline, Margaret, and Philip. Only one of you can be crowned the People's Novelist and have your book published and sold in bookshops across the country. The winner is... Madeline Rice. You better have that as a souvenir. You also better have that, which will have your name on it.
Thank you.
Judges, Geoffrey, what for you made Madeline's a winner?
What made her a winner? I just think the overall ability to make you turn the page, to make you what happened next. And don't forget, we were only allowed to read 3 chapters. It's to want to read the 4th.
Penny?
Oh, yeah, now I want to know what happens. That's why I think you should write the book, get on with it.
Yeah, absolutely, get on with it. And the rest of you, get publishing contracts now, because you have it, OK? Remember that.
Well, how do you feel?
Overwhelmed and so happy. It's been wonderful.
Now, remind us all of the book. The book is called...
Brancaster.
And it's about...
A woman who loses her child.
Yeah.
And through a process of an adventure, she is restored.
Wonderful. Well, I think you put the fear of God into us all with that. You clearly had Geoffrey extraordinarily worried. Commiserations to the other authors, but many congratulations for getting this far. It's an astonishing thing to do. Big round of applause. My thanks to all of our authors and, of course, to the judges, to Cathy Kelly, Penny Smith and Geoffrey Archer. Well done. Thank you. If you want to read any of the submissions, then go to our website, itv.com/Alan, and you should be able to see Madeline's novel in bookshops a year from now. I bet you can't believe it. Still ahead, he's been performing for 55 years. Actor, singer and musical star Tommy Steele's here, and with music from the most popular tenor in the world, Andrea Bocelli, with congratulations to Madeline. We'll see you in a minute.